Welcome in, everybody. It is Saturday night, December 13th, 2025, and it is the final, PLE of the year for the WWE Saturday night's main event. Probably for many people, the most anticipated or most dreaded show for them of the year. It was John Cena's final in-ring match of his career, the retirement tour. And John Cena's career is finally officially over. I am Max Dinnerberg. I am joined as always by Rami here on bodyslam.net's post-show. Pretty eventful show. NXT, TNA people throughout the show, wrapping things up with John Cena, some celebrities in the crowd, legends coming back. We're going to get into all of it. But Rami, we are currently, obviously, a couple minutes from the show ending. How are you doing, and how are your thoughts on the overall show here to kick us off?
This company is the fucking worst. Like, okay, I can understand the ending. I can understand in certain ways of storyline, future-wise and whatnot. But my God, they have the worst track record when it comes to putting over legends, trying to let them have a good send-off, trying to let them have like a good way out. Even if they do lose in the end, like certain people, like example, the Dwayne. When The Rock lost at WrestleMania 29, it was to, in a way, continue that build on of finally passing the torch.
Yeah.
We had so many years where The Rock was on top. Hulk Hogan came back, lost at WrestleMania, and, continued on from there. The Rock lost to Cena. Cena loses to Cody. Well, like we're seeing the passing of the torch. But in a situation, in a method like this, I don't see any build off from this besides of what are they going to prove in the future in 2026 when it comes to the World Heavyweight Championship, because Gunther defeating, John Cena, ending the show off like this, everyone knows this, everyone saw what happened, but this happening and whatnot is, what's going to happen for the future. CM Punk is the World Heavyweight Champion. Cody Rhodes is the WWE Champion.
Yeah.
They look like they could be having year-long reigns, and if you have Gunther in that mix after he just made Cena tap out, lose every single week, every single month, then you're gonna have a big problem. But yeah, we have so much to talk about for this show. That's just that's not even the cream of the crop. There was so much, excitement that happened, so much fun, exciting matchups. But the opener, what I love the presentation of Obafemi. I love the way that they present him, and he presents himself as such a freaking beast. Cody Rhodes is the WWE champion, undisputed champion. He defeated, Roman Reigns at Mania. He finally beat John Cena in that, crazy all-out clusterfuck of a match that they had at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And for the last couple of months, it's been like, rinse and wash whenever it comes to the WWE. They like to go on with the same storylines over and over again until they reach WrestleMania season, and then they're like, boom, we gave you what you want, guys. We got you. Example, Cody Rhodes and Cena, or Cody Rhodes and, Roman, or when he came in, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. But we had to wait because we were like, okay, free agency talk. Cody Rhodes is, not with AEW. What's he gonna do next? Came to WrestleMania, big rule. But then, years pass by, and now we're just waiting for Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. But in the mix of all of that, they're like, hey, Drew McIntyre, you're a tremendous athlete, tremendous wrestler. You should have been world champion multiple times in the last couple of years. But we're going to make you feud with all of our top guys. And that's your whole thing. It's just feuding with the top guys. You're not winning anything of world championship material. And I'm going to also argue something, but when it comes to NXT. But what are your thoughts? What were your thoughts on the opener before I yap my mouth off too much?
Yeah, I just want to say too, we have so many people already joining us so quickly. So thanks everyone. We're gonna break down here on this Bodyslam post show. We're gonna break down each of the matches here. We got 4 matches. We'll break down. Rami and I we're also gonna reminisce and talk some of our favorite John Cena moments or matches, whatever we feel like we want to talk about our experience with John Cena. I think it's fair. We'll probably end the show talking about that. But guys, we already have over 600 people already watching us. So welcome everyone. If you're new to Bodyslam, welcome. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have live videos every single day here on the channel. Follow us as well on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all of those things. And please, guys, comment along with us on YouTube.
Over 600. 639 people. Come on, get some comments and get your
Yeah.
questions. And what were your favorite John Cena moments? What was your favorite moment of the night? What were your favorite moments over the years of watching John Cena? Have you ever met him? Did you ever have an experience or a moment where like he, changed your,
Yeah.
perspective, gave you hustle, loyalty, respect, and a spirit to never give up? Let us all hear about it tonight because what a his crazy night it was because we're just all waiting for that moment for that final entrance. All the band of wrestlers that have faced them. RVD popped me so hard because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like I remember watching ECW in that era where he was the ECW and the WWE champion. Like he wanted to carry both straps and everything, and I was like, that was the coolest time. And RVD over the years has always been one of the dopest motherfuckers in the world. But then you get
Yes.
like Mark Henry, like wrestling wise, you always like see these guys like growing up as a kid. You're like, they were beasts. Mark Henry ripping off the steel cage. I remember that episode, and then attacking Batista. I was like, holy moly,
Yeah.
what a monster he was. And then feuding with John Cena, the fake retirement. That was one of my favorite moments because I believed it. I was like tears in my eyes, like man, little me's gonna watch Mark Henry actually retire, and then he just lariat, John Cena takes him out. It was just one of the best moments, and just everybody else, like Kurt Angle, the Ruthless Aggression era, even Elias, that popped me as well.
Yeah,
Like
that was weird, right? Yeah, there
when
was
I
an
saw
interesting one.
Elias, I was like, whoa, what the hell? Like that's the coolest thing in the world. Well, Elijah, Elias, but like but and what's so funny too is Kevin Owens next to him. I thought that was just the cream of the crop because
Yeah.
he hates him so much. He's like, you are Elias, and the whole story and everything.
Elijah
So
storyline. Yeah,
like
you're right. Yeah,
the
exactly.
Elias storyline, like that was one of the most goofiest times, but it also brought a smile to our faces during Wrench's time of bad booking.
Yeah, there and I see you post Dawson talk about how these Delulu wrestling fans are heated that Cope was not at the show. I think
Yeah,
again,
Cliff Corner Copeland was not at the show. Like
yeah,
my goodness, I agree right there. Like I I I wish he was at the show, but WWE also has the opportunity to reach out and everything. So they
never gonna
don't.
happen. Never gonna happen. I don't think it was ever gonna happen. I think people have worked Cope back in WWE the whole year so far, and again, he is
Yeah,
so he it's not like his contract's up anytime soon either with AEW. So, but it was weird too. Like for example, Randy Orton was not there because he was
yeah.
in
That
Saudi
broke
Arabia.
my
He was in Saudi
that broke
Arabia
my
promoting the Royal Rumble. A lot of the talent were in Saudi Arabia. Like I know Dom and Liv were also among the people in Saudi Arabia. So that's why not all the talent and the whole rosters were there. I know people wanted to see Randy Orton there, but he was in Saudi Arabia promoting the next PLE, which is the Royal Rumble in late January.
yeah.
So,
I can
did you think that was weird,
and
Rami?
it's such a schedule conflict with WWE as well because you
Yeah,
have John Cena's last match listed on this weekend, on this date, at this location, all that, and you have Randy Orton, Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and even Omos was there, like Omos Sapiens Rise, my man, but um all of them in Saudi Arabia. It's like John Cena's last match, and these important pieces to his story were
yeah.
not there to be there, be in attendance, be able to be by ringside and whatnot.
Love this
So,
comment. I'm not crying. You are from Brian on Facebook. Hey, a lot of people in the
me too,
crowd were
man.
crying. Obviously, you knew Cody was going to cry. But
Yeah, I was crying like a big baby, like
were
oh my,
you?
like yeah,
Were
like
you, Rami?
John Cena's when I was 5 years old or 6 years old, I had a VHS tape. I've explained it, like I've said this story like a billion times always, but I had a VHS tape of WrestleMania 20 when John Cena fought the Big Show. Up among those matches was Undertaker versus Kane, the Cruiserweight classic that they had during that night. The
Yeah.
Dudleys were in action. There's so much that happened. It was just like a great night of wrestling, a great night of action. But John Cena lifting up Big Show, me as a kid seeing like a pretty strong motherfucker lifting up a 7 foot giant, you don't expect that to happen. So having that tape and watching it until literally it stopped working. It stopped because I watched it like 1,000 times. I got home from school, watched it. After SmackDown, watched it. Like that WrestleMania is engraved in my mind because of how many times I watched it and how many times I saw Cena come out and how many times I saw Kurt Angle fought Eddie Guerrero, and the main event of double murder suicide versus triple nose versus Shawn Michaels. Like there's just so many things that happened during that entire show, but like John Cena is like an important piece of my childhood. I had a chain gang Cody when I was 7. I had all of his action figures growing up. I had all of his shirts or hats or wristbands from the magazines. Like it's great what wrestling does for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It keeps you on like a steady path where you can enjoy it. Whether it's Japanese wrestling, lucha libre, professional wrestling, like in the States like TNA or WWE. Like growing up, we got to have a lot of great action.
Yeah.
John Cena, Undertaker, Batista, Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, like even Shelton Benjamin, Jeff Hardy. Like there was so many great wrestlers that we got to see growing up, and it's great that we still get to see them in action. But it's also like down to earth and humbling when we get to see them retire, especially like John Cena in this moment. Not trying to bawl my eyes out here or anything like that, because I know it's
Well,
gonna
let
be a
it out.
long night of us talking like this. So it's just great what John Cena was able to do for us, and for us as fans, and for us growing up as adults. Hustle, loyalty, respect, and never give up model. And like what Brian said, I'm not crying, you are. I'm not crying, you are. Like if someone says like why is everything blurry, that's me basically. So I'm always gonna just have a very happy moment to
Yeah.
share about John Cena. So I'm happy about seeing his last match, but god damn, he should have won. But
Well,
it's all good in the end. It's all good.
yeah, we're gonna absolutely get into the match.
We're,
Again,
we're gonna get to, we're gonna get to that. Yeah,
throughout the show, if you guys want to talk about John Cena, we'll focus on that. But we
yeah,
are going to break down the show, each of the
yeah.
matches.
Let's break down the
Let's
show.
get into the show here. So the show started with Cody Rhodes, the world champion, WWE champion, versus the NXT champion, Obafemi. Now, this week, I did not hated, honestly, the end to NXT this week. So I was already not in a great mood with NXT, where Javon won the Iron Survivor just to lose, of course, again to Obafemi. But we'll talk about Javon later. But Obafemi versus Cody Rhodes, not much buildup. Honestly, out of the NXT matches, this had the biggest buildup because Oba was at least on SmackDown last night. Cut a very quick promo on Cody. This match went around 8 minutes. Oba dominated the match, but it ends in a disqualification. Drew McIntyre showed up, started beating up Cody, and then Oba and Cody beat up Drew, and Oba and Cody stood tall together. I did not like this. I did not like that we started the show with a DQ finish. I think if you want to protect Obafemi and Cody Rhodes, right? You just don't have. I see that you shouldn't have edited like this. We're gonna get into that. I see you, Matthew. But I'm upset with the last match. I think a lot of people are. We're gonna get into people's hatred of the last match. I just for me, I was honestly the most heated I was tonight was the beginning of the show. I hated the DQ. Cody hit 2 Cody cutters, not even a crossroads. Oba didn't hit any of his big stuff either. I just don't think it benefits anyone from doing the match. If, again, Cody is the WWE champion. It should not hurt Oba having Cody win the match. But it just seemed like they were in a position where they just didn't want to have one of them lose. So we have a DQ finish. So this was not for me. I thought they could have just done Cody beating Oba. Wouldn't be offensive. Oba maybe having a quick 5-minute squash also wouldn't be offensive to anyone. I'm so confused what they're going to do with these NXT people over the next month or so as we head into Royal Rumble season. Who's going to get called up, who will not. But again, do I think Oba is a main event WrestleMania guy? Yes, I think Oba is the now. And I think hopefully with John Cena retiring, it's time to start focusing on these younger talent to be in the main event scene. But for me, I was really excited for Cody and Oba. I was left pretty underwhelmed to start the show with a DQ finish. Rami, what were your thoughts on Cody Rhodes versus Obafemi?
I Of course, like I said in the very beginning, I love the presentation of Obafemi of how
Yeah.
much like a boss beast he is and everything. He comes out, he gives off that presence of like Shaq Duncan or Chris Kaman, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna see a freaking monster just enter that paint and just destroy the whole league. But and he's the future. He is the future. He's gonna destroy everybody. Obafemi is a god, basically. But when it comes to like this matchup and bringing it out. I don't think that WWE, really thinks about the how stupid and how shitty it
Yep.
is seeing the constant DQ, DQ, DQ. If you were gonna have Obafemi lose, it wouldn't have hurt him at all because he's still so young. He's still so what do you call it? Light years away from the game of being not even like being prime. Like I'm not saying like he's not even prime in himself, but
Yeah.
you're in NXT right now. You're destroying all this competition. When you get to the main roster, everybody feels that type of impact. Jacob Fatu never, had experience with NXT, but with him going to the main roster, at first he was presented as a massive beast. But then when he started getting into programs with like Damian Priest and with Jacob and sorry Solo Sikoa and all these other guys, he started to get worn down more, and they started to get into more action. Same with Drew McIntyre as well.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys started to wear him down and make him actually face off in a 50-50 action rather than 70-30. But when it comes to Obafemi, he's the type of guy where he's gonna have to face those type of competitions. It's 70-30 most of the time when it's an NXT. Javon Evans is able to build off this underdog story, and he excelled so much tonight. Him and Slater, but when we get to that match, it was
Yeah.
very, very, very incredible. Like these two are the future, so young, so ready for the game. Like, and the WWE is in safe hands when it comes to talent. It's not in safe hands when it comes to creative ideas and creative booking and creative future storytelling because they like to visit back and say, "Hey, we're the ones who set that up," and it's like, really, it's not. Like the
Yeah.
wrestlers had a moment where they had like a face off, and they're like, "Oh, we went back to this moment." It was like you can't always use like little detailed parts and then say, oh yeah, that's cinema. It doesn't help a lot of the times. Cody Rhodes facing off against Obafemi, not a lot really, happened heavy except for Cody Rhodes fucking busting himself open. Typical Saturday night main event Cody Rhodes, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
always getting busted, always finding a way to be like, you know what? You know what NBC would love? A little bit of the blade. And it's so funny as hell. Like
That
I
was a
love it.
dangerous spot, man. I thought his
I,
head hit the back, not his ear. He's lucky it was just his ear, honestly, Cody.
Exactly. That's why he's so fucking extreme with it. He's like,
Yeah.
I'll go to the lengths of just being that, bruiser motherfucker.
Yeah.
Um, but it sets up nothing besides, oh, you can, find a WrestleMania match between Drew McIntyre and Obafemi. But even then, I don't think that Drew McIntyre losing at WrestleMania helps anybody in the sense of he's one of your future guys. You sign him on for this multi-year deal. Building up Obafemi in a spot like that, it helps, but it doesn't help when you're building off stories of he's gonna lose at WrestleMania, but he's gonna be fighting for the championship at Clash at the Castle in
Yeah.
3 months from then. Like with all these losses on top of everything, it doesn't
I
help anyone.
I agree. I thought I like the idea of doing Cody versus Oba. I just thought the
Love it.
D the DQ just isn't helping anyone involved. And I love Drew McIntyre. Like, love Drew McIntyre, but he has lost to Cody now 2 straight times. Like, both very clean. Like, there's just no excuse to keep running back Drew and Cody at this point. And again, Oba will now be waiting for his New Year's Evil opponent because we're having a fatal 4-way match on Tuesday with Miles Bourne, Joe Hendry, Deion Lennox, and Leon Slater to determine the #1 contender for New Year's Evil because Javon already has lost his spot for the title, which I got to be honest, I've never been more mad at wrestling in a while than I was mad on Tuesday. But I think Oba is clearly the guy. Out of all the NXT people
Yeah,
also on the show, he did get the biggest reaction. They were doing the big chants for his entrances. The
yeah,
crowd was split between Oba and Cody. So I thought for casual fans who maybe don't watch NXT, they clearly could at least tell Oba is a big star, at least on NXT. So I thought that was a good sign because not a lot of the rest of the NXT people got like the biggest reactions when they came out. So I was happy Oba
Leon Slater did get a good, I would say Leon Slater got a really good pop when he
Yeah,
came out. The crowd was singing his music, they were going crazy. Like, so I was really happy to see that he was him. And if you had to put on a, like, meter of who showed out the most, of course it's tied up, but
yeah,
I do love how much that Leon Slater came in with this opportunity and said, I'm gonna have a crazy match. And him and Styles, like, when we get to that, like, there's so
yeah,
much future booking we can tell between those two that we hope to happen.
yes,
Um,
absolutely.
but like, Obafemi in the end does not lose. Cody Rhodes does not lose in a way, like, so in the
Yep,
sense of getting pinned.
yep.
Drew McIntyre puts more, I guess, seeds of whatnot into his storyline with Cody Rhodes, which I don't really know what we can really, but what we can really do with it, because are we gonna wait till Royal Rumble to book this match? Like, we're gonna wait that many weeks and
Saturday
whatnot?
night's main
Like,
event, maybe. I don't know.
is there a Saturday main event in
Yeah,
January?
in Montreal. No, in Montreal on January 24th, which is exactly a week before the Royal Rumble. So, January 24th in Montreal, Canada, is the next Saturday night's main event. They were promoting on the show a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
they were. And, but every time I looked up, I was like, "Where's Jesse Ventura?" Like, people were like, "Oh, he's there," but I'm like, "Where is Jesse Ventura?
yeah,
I only saw him like twice."
yeah.
Like, these
So
bastards every time.
so there'll be another Saturday night's main event. That'll be our next Rami and I post show. Because the Royal
By the way,
Rumble is,
thank you so much to the 1,000
yeah, unbelievable.
people that are in attendance right now watching us yap about this.
We're just getting
And me lose
started.
my mind.
And we're
And
just
me
getting
losing
started.
my mind. Yeah, exactly. We're just getting started.
Let's move
God.
to the next match. So also, by the way, in between the matches they were doing,
Uh,
obviously, yeah. Sorry, you go, Rami. Sorry.
no, my apologies. I just wanted to mention I agree with you with being pissed off about Tuesday night, because I literally said this past Friday, like last Friday
Oh my
night,
God.
before the NXT deadline happened, Ricky needs to turn heel. If you're gonna set up a moment where you have Obafemi versus Ricky, if someone has to, if one of
Yeah,
them wins, they face Cody Rhodes. Okay, let there be a low blow, let there be a spear. Ricky Saints
sure.
wins there. Builds off that cheating moment where you can move Oba out of the way, prepare him for the Royal Rumble, and have that big moment and big shine there. He didn't like not impress tonight, but I feel like it could have went either way for both guys, of Oba and Ricky, of the pop, the reaction, the match, and the ending as well. Not really the ending, more so. I feel like, because Oba being the face that he kind of is, like, everyone's always gonna love him. He doesn't build himself off as a heel or like a face. It's
He's
more
a
like
tweener for sure. Yeah,
like a tweener, anti-hero, as they say. So,
yeah.
um, but I think Ricky Saints turning heel the following Tuesday, I was like, that made no sense. It wasted a little bit of time. It They say that it is only going to be for him to get sent off of NXT by Javon Evans, and then for Javon Evans to beat Obafemi at Stand and Deliver on WrestleMania weekend. Like, so Oba's not going up to the main roster. We're gonna wait till he's like after, like, what do you call it, March,
Mm-hmm.
or like March or April. Sorry, April 18 and 19 is Mania. So are they gonna run a draft? We don't fucking know. And if they don't
Yeah,
run a draft, then, like, it's so fucking confusing, because we're like,
and we're
we
supposed to
want to
get
see these
call
guys.
ups too. We're supposed to get call ups very soon. So, because I
I don't know.
thought the call up would be Oba putting over Javon at New Year's Eve, and that means Oba can go to the Rumble, and then after a great performance in the Royal
Exactly.
Rumble, he can just stay on the main roster. But now I just have no idea. Again, they have really fumbled the Javon Evans thing. They just have really fumbled it. People will talk about 21-year-olds. Sometimes when you're 21, you need to be booked as a top guy, and sadly, those 21-year-olds at this point are not. So in between the matches, by the way, we're going to get into Bailey and Sol Ruca in just a second. They did these tribute videos where celebrities, legends,
Hmm.
current wrestlers were giving their thank yous to John Cena. In between all these commercials, I did think it took the air out of the crowd in the beginning, where we had a DQ finish and such a long break in between matches, and it kind of killed the energy towards the beginning of the Bailey and Sol match. It picked up towards the end. So we had Bailey versus Sol Ruca. Lyra came out with Bailey. Ruka came out with, Zarya came out with Sol Ruka because on Tuesday, Zarya's like, can I come to the match? And Sol's like, of course, you're invited. Bailey did hug Trish Stratus and Eve Torres on her entrance. I thought this match was a really good job at showcasing Sol Ruka, her athletic ability, a beautiful moonsault. She had an incredible DDT where she flipped off the top rope or flipped, in the rope into a DDT. Was really effective. The finish of the match I didn't love. I thought Sol could have just won with the Soul Snatcher, and that could have been that. But they had Bailey roll kind of out of the ring. And then when Sol brought Bailey back in the ring, Bailey went for a roll-up. Then Sol reversed that into a roll-up. That was the finish. I prefer just, boom, Soul Snatcher. That's a good finisher. Boom, 1, 2, 3. That could have been it. I didn't think we needed the extra 30 seconds after taking a finisher for her to already be ready for a roll-up. But again, this was the right finish. I think out of all the NXT people on the show, this was the one everyone thought was going to get a win. Bailey doesn't need to win this match. She's in tag feud. She's at this point too where she can start putting people over. And Sol has been someone who the main roster seemingly really wants to use. She was at Evolution with Zarya in the tag team championship match. Clearly Triple H likes, and that brass likes Sol Ruka. So Sol Ruka beats Bailey. I thought the match was very good. I'm just very mixed on the finish. I thought we got to an unnecessary Soul Snatcher. Boom. Because even the replay was funny. When they were showing the replay for the match, they stopped the replay after the Soul Snatcher. That should just been the finish. They didn't even show the roll up on the finish. So, but I thought, again, I'm a big fan of Sol Ruka, and obviously Bailey is one of my favorite 2 or 3 women of all time in pro wrestling. So, really cool to see Bailey put her over. So what are your thoughts, Rami? Sol Ruka defeating Bailey.
I have the same opinions as you, of course, when it comes to how, of course, incredibly talented Sol Ruka is and how much of a legend Bailey has become in the last 10, 11 years.
Yep.
I remember her in 2014 when I was watching all the NXT takeovers and just seeing her grow there. Her, Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, all the women there before going up to the main roster and going through the years of all the hard work that she's, achieved and overcame and, going from being the hugging face to being the despicable role model heel. It's such a great time and a great turn that she had. But when it came to, of course, tonight, I enjoyed their match. I agree with you when it came to the end. But I feel like when it comes to Saturday main event, they like to book the replica type of finishes that they had back in those 80s and 90s type of events. So they're always looking for a way to find a finisher, get the person out of there as if when you take an RKO and you slip underneath the ropes, all of a sudden they're still good and you roll them in the ring and you still get a roll up. It's weird because it's I already beat you, so you're basically stunned when I get you over to get the roll up. But other than that, I think they both did incredibly well. Of course, Bailey's been doing a great job. Lostrom, that she recently posted about, and just her work in the ring with Lyra Valkyria as a team, and her singles run as well. Everything that Bailey has done has been incredible. Sol Ruka has been achieving so much in NXT that by the time she comes up to the main roster, she's so highly touted. Her and Zarya already has a great team, but when it does come time for them to feud with each other, for them to be against each other, I think that we have ourselves one of the best rivalries on our hands. And just so much that can happen for both women and all 3 women, going into the future, including as Lyra Valkyrie as well, who was in the corner for Bailey. That women's tag team division, if they can keep everybody together, it could really blossom so well. But that thing with the women's division is that you can have all the best women in the world. It's just about how you book them. If you can't book them so well, then you just have a women's division. So they're just sitting there just doing nothing. So I'm glad that tonight they were able to do something great, especially for John Cena's last time is now event. He wanted to give an opportunity for these NXT wrestlers and for TNA X Division champion Leon Slater
Yep.
It feels like we're like putting him on like a different type of pedestal and everything like that. Like, oh, he's here, and then NXT wrestlers are right here.
Sure.
Nothing lower, of anybody. Um, but of course, I'm happy that Sol Ruka won. Builds up to her, going for the NXT championship in the future. That she beat a former champion. She can have an opportunity there. But then we all know how championship matches go whenever you have a best friend in your corner. All of a sudden, your best friend's like, hey, man, I want you to win. You are the champion. And all of a sudden, just chair to the back and just kills them right on the spot. And we're like, I thought you were best friends here. Like,
Hey, NXT does that more than anyone either. Just this year alone, they did the Blake Monroe,
yeah.
Jordan Grace finish, and just Tuesday they did the Ricky Saints, Siobhan finish. So they do love the best friend costume.
Oh,
But
don't even forget Izzy Dame and Tatum
but
Paxley as
Izzy and
well.
Tatum, they do this all the time.
Come
It's
on,
very
man.
repeated.
Come on now.
And this is just an NXT problem. Like Zarya literally tried to spear Soul like 2 weeks ago, and they have completely moved past the fact that happened.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. I was just in the spirit of competition. Like, what is that supposed to mean? You tried to kill me, and you're like, this is competition, brother. Like, okay.
Like, Shawn Michaels, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, in-ring performer. Booking wise, this has been a rough couple weeks for Shawn Michaels, in my opinion. So I'm hoping we can bounce back.
It's been a rough stretch for every like we went from having like WrestleMania 40 and being like, oh, what's next after that? You know what I mean? And then for the last year and a half now, it's been awful. It's been awful.
And it doesn't help that Triple H is getting booed out of the wazoo towards the end of the show. So we're gonna get into Triple H getting booed.
You fucked up
later. So then we get to, because we're gonna guess what, we're gonna talk for a long time about the John Cena match. I just want to get through these first 3 matches, and then we'll really dive deep into the John Cena Gunther match. Then they showed some other legends before this tag match: Michelle McCool, Mark Henry, Kurt Angle, all these people sitting ringside. Sami Zayn was ringside for this match. As we get the Raw Tag Team Championship match, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defeating Javon Evans and Leon Slater. I think in ring-wise, this is definitely the best match on the show. Now, while saying that, I thought the match was actually way shorter than I was expecting. Like, it kind of, when the match ended, I was like, wow, that was like, because you could definitely tell, at least they knew they didn't have a lot of time, because Javon and Leon went crazy in the first like 2 minutes of this match. Like, right as AJ and Dragon gave the belts up, they just started attacking them. And when top rope, the huge tope from Javon, and then Leon does the one over the barricade, which is really cool. Leon got to do that Swanton 450, which is one of my favorite finishers in wrestling right now.
It looked so scary landing on AJ. Oh my God.
Javon gets so much airtime on the OG cutter. Like, he's obviously very high in the air, but it feels like he's in the air for so long, and it's very impressive. Again, Javon and Leon Slater, they're 21 years old. Clearly just so amazing. And they clearly are, in my opinion, top people who be booked like top people. Now, the finish itself got kind of muffled because AJ was going for the phenomenal forearm, and he basically slips off the top rope. Now, Leon Slater, 21 years old, did the veteran thing, which is get right into a pinfall instantly after something like that happens. I was really like, wow, very impressed by Leon for doing that. But then Leon going for the top rope, and he got caught into a really good Styles clash for the finish. So AJ and Dragon Lee are still the tag team champions. Again, I didn't think Leon.
Oh, wait, was it for the tag team titles?
Yeah, it was. It was.
So I'm so like this whole weekend and this whole week was just like so confusing. Like, it was like
it was for the titles. It was.
It's listed as non-title. Like yesterday, I saw like an article say that it was listed as non-title match. And then John Cena's opening up the fucking show, and then like Godzilla set to appear. Like, what's going on here, people? Like, I'm so confused here. Like, but yeah, crazy match. If it was not for the titles, I would have been more than happy with them, winning the match, Slater and Evans. But my God, they did so well. Dragon Lee taking all those big moves and bumps. Like, that man had something to sell, and it was great. So I was really excited for this matchup, especially the pop that Leon Slater got. and introducing him as X Division champion, something you never thought you'd hear. You know what I mean? When you're playing these video games, when you're creating all these championships with your friends and whatnot, or just by yourself on the universe mode, or just in the exhibition stuff, you always like create a TNA title, WC, ECW, AEW, all these titles to have yourself a good time. But when you actually hear that and you actually get to see someone young like Leon Slater and someone as great as he is and see him perform with AJ Styles, someone he's looked up to so much, like they explained the story about how his family, of course, watching for overseas and everything, at such a late time and whatnot.
Yeah.
And just him coming out there performing, having this incredible, match with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee alongside Evans. Evans is built on for a great, great, future for NXT, winning the NXT World Championship, having a great run, and because like that's the thing too, you never know how long he can hold his championship for. If he finally holds it, the goal is for him to hold it for over a year at least, because he's the next big thing. You don't want to rush him so talent-wise when there's so much talent that's already going through NXT. That's my opinion, of course. I think that,
I
everybody
think
should
he's ready
have
now. I
a
do. I do.
he's ready now, of course, but like with how stacked the main roster is going to become,
Yeah.
Femi and Braun Breaker, those two are gonna rule on, and then Javon Evans is gonna be back in the same storyline if he gets called up to the main roster anytime soon. So I think taking a year from now lets everything get like not like disappear from your mind, but when it comes back to it, we're able to enjoy Evans and Obafemi feud
Yeah.
after Stand Deliver, especially because we'll be dealing with this for the next what 2 3 more months or so, like to WrestleMania season. So like weekend even like just it's gonna be a long, long time. But Slater and AJ Styles, I wanted to mention this. I'm very, very excited that AJ pinned Slater
Yep.
because this now can plant some seeds if we can get an X Division Championship matchup in the future, or even just a matchup at TNA for AJ Styles against Slater or against any of these other talent. Because if he can pin Slater, then you're telling me there's a chance that he can pin Frankie Kazarian and win the World Heavyweight Championship. But if AJ Styles in his final year can win the TNA World Title, I'll be more than happy. But yeah,
Sorry.
I think
Really.
my apologies.
No, you're good. Really quick. So Triple H is on the post show, doing his interview. Obviously, not a press conference, doing his interview, and there were more There were UF'd up chants. There were LA Knight chants, and then moments ago, very loud AEW chants as Triple H is talking. So very interesting. We're about to break down the main event, guys. We're going to break down John Cena's final match. But I am shocked, by the way. It's funny. AEW chants, and everyone's tweeting right now. AEW chants are loud in Washington. It's funny. I really feel like the audiences have become so separated now. Like I think when AEW started, there was obviously crossover, but WWE has gone so mainstream, right? Very
Hmm.
much the casual fans. You really haven't seen any single like AEW chants anymore at WWE shows or anything like that. So it is fascinating that people were chanting that during Triple H's post match. But I think it's time. We want to spend the majority of our time here talking about John Cena's final match. Now, before we actually get into this, I actually just jinxed myself. We had a segment where The Miz was talking in the ring. The Miz was wearing his gear that he beat
Yeah.
John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania. And now R-Truth then comes out.
Oh, but which, by the way, I want
Yeah.
to mention, I love that WrestleMania for that. Not that I love it. It's not like a great WrestleMania because there's
No.
certain moments that happen during it that were like, okay, hot pop. Like for example, Randy and CM Punk had a great, amazing,
Yeah,
phenomenal
good
match.
match.
Um, then we had the core fight, Kofi Kingston, The Big Show,
Oh,
Santino
God.
Marella, and Kane. Like what a crazy match that was. 10 out of 10. I recommend it to every wrestling historian. But then we also had your favorite, your all-time favorite, Jersey native Snooki. She
All right.
came out, of course. She had a great match, of course.
Did
Teaming
she?
alongside teaming alongside Trish Stratus and the leader of the Jomo Sapiens. We're gonna eat your nuts.
There were
What do you call
three.
it?
there's 3 matches on this show I like, which is I liked Cody and Ray. I liked
Great match. Great match.
Obviously I liked the singles match we just talked about with the Randy and Punk, and I also enjoyed obviously Taker and Hunter. But this match show, as I said, had Snooki on it, not good. It had Michael Cole beating Jerry Lawler, not good. Like Edge versus Del Rio. I mean, this is like we're getting into like rough territory here. So this is
dude. Why did they give us Edge versus Santino, dude? I would have taken that. Like, come on.
Geez, I really hope this is not true. There are We Won Vince chants now on the post show. That's not what we need. That's actually the opposite of what we need.
Y'all just tarnished yourselves. Go to jail.
Hey, I respect the AEW chants, not We Won Vince. So Miz comes out, then R-Truth comes out, and R-Truth said, because Miz, you switched the balls around, so you gave yourself a second chance to be in the tournament. You allowed this person to not be in the John Cena Alliance. And I was like, oh, who is it? I assumed it would just be R-Truth. And you read it, and it says Joe Hendry, and then Miz says his name. Joe Hendry comes out, massive pop. Joe Hendry hits the standing ovation on Miz. Henry and Truth hit the 5-knuckle shuffle. This was definitely like a WTF moment. I was like, this is really happening right now.
Yeah, this is something you book, and then you're like, yeah, this would never happen in a million years. Like, who does this? Like, it was beautiful. I thought it was amazing because Joe Hendry, the smile is like, like infectious and everything. It's just so funny. Just seeing the turnaround and everybody just say his name. And come on, like 19,000 people cheering for this man. Like that's amazing thing to see. A lot of people on social media are like, fuck this guy, he's a piece of shit. And we're like, whoa, what's going on here? And then like, we see him out there and everyone just loves him. He's just so great. Say his name and he appears, and he did. He appeared. It was so good.
No longer a TNA wrestler. He is fully signed at WWE. So
exactly. So it's very fun to see that, especially after WrestleMania, coming in as the World Heavyweight Champion of TNA and against Randy Orton. That was such a very fun, interesting match that we had. And of course, when he did the turnaround, got hit with the RKO, like, what a time to be alive.
What a time is correct. I was really happy again. And also, if you're not familiar, Joe Hendry is very public in his interviews on how much John Cena has meant to his career. And he said in an interview with Chris Van Vliet that after WrestleMania, like even after Cena won the match, he still came up to Joe after Cena won the main event, still talked to him and gave him advice. So obviously meant the world for Joe to be on a show like this. So, but now, Rami, it is go time. Let's talk about John Cena tapping out to Gunther in his final match. Now, I want to say this right off the bat. To rant this right off the bat, I do want to say this. Gunther is one of the best performers in the world. And I think the biggest problem with this feud and having Gunther in the matches, it's made people hate Gunther for the wrong reasons. Like now people are pretending this guy can't talk on the mic. This guy can't wrestle. Why is he's not a big enough star to be wrestling Cena? I thought he was honestly the perfect call. He played the villain role so well in this main event match. So Gunther, by the way, he gets his regular entrance. Cena took a while. The music, everyone was building. Cena comes out. So let's talk about the particular. So Cena also shook hands with, as you brought up earlier, Kevin Owens, RVD, Elias, Sami Zayn, Booker T, even freaking Haku was there doing
I legit was like, oh my! I legit yelled out King Haku, like what's going on here?
It was
like,
great.
Like the freaking GOAT right there. Like he's gonna bite someone's nose out if they call wrestling fake. Like don't even mess with that man.
Yeah.
But like it was so beautiful to see all the legends and Eve Torres and Trish Stratus. Of course, I was very happy about to see it. But of course with Eve and the storyline with Zach, it would have been so funny if Zach and Chelsea where Matt Cardona and Chelsea were in the background and everything, and he just daps up Cena. It would have been such a really cool moment then.
That was a fun because I still remember as a kid watching Kane chuck Zack Ryder in a wheelchair off the stage and thinking as a kid it was one of the funniest segments I've ever seen in my life. So
it was such a wild time because they're like, this dude got his girl jacked and they got put in a wheelchair and they got thrown off a wheelchair off a stage. Like there's nothing worse that you could have, and they got kicked in the balls at WrestleMania. Like Zack Ryder had the worst time of his life.
Yes. So let's get into the actual match. So Cena obviously hit his usual, the shoulder, the AA, the divine knuckles. I mean, I think he hit 4 AAs in this match. One was through a table, through the announce table. He hit the super AA off the top rope. Gunther kicked out of all of these. But the match, the story for the match, and because Cena is not on these shows anymore, Gunther had to carry all of the promo work the last week or two. So Gunther cut on Monday. His goal is that I'm not here just to pin him and beat him up. I'm making the guy who says never give up. The whole story was Gunther was going to make John Cena tap out and give up.
Yeah.
That was the story going in. So that's why I assumed we were going to have Gunther tapping him out. Now, throughout the match, and also Cena hit his elbow drop from the top rope, which he has not done in a very long time. So very surprised by that. I'm just trying to hear, Rami, you talk actually about this second. For some reason, our Twitter, it says it's off on Twitter right now, the stream, for some reason.
That's something. Hold on. But no, what
I'll look into this while you talk. Sorry, you talk about the actual match itself.
You're good. So what an entrance, of course, what it was, like I've seen this guy run down that ramp, do the salute for my entire childhood, ever since I was like 5 years old. So for me to see it every single chance I got from Monday Night Raw to Friday Night SmackDown. I remember the time when he got drafted to SmackDown, like mid 2010, and then got sent back to Monday Night Raw on the same night, and I was like, that's just the most random thing. And then also, like, who could forget that same feud with The Miz? He would win the WWE Championship and tell the whole world that, we have caught and compromised Osama bin Laden. Like, come on.
Fix it, by the way. We're back on Twitter for Body Slam. Sorry.
We are back on Twitter because we have caught and compromised whatever stopped it from being on Twitter.
Yeah.
That sounds so bad. I'm Palestinian. Don't get the wrong idea, pals. So, no, but like John Cena, of course, making that final run, that final salute, getting in that ring, and then the introduction, and all the legends watching him. Like over the years, we saw so many battles between him and Kurt Angle. All the great matches between him and Rob Van Dam and Mark Henry. Like he lifted up Henry so many goddamn times. It was like how when is he ever gonna like actually fuck up? Like because even then when he actually like, tumbled over and sold the match off and everything, there was never a moment where he actually had a mess up. He carried Edge and Big Show. He carried J&J Security. He just recently carried Finn Balor and JD McDonough. There's no amount of weight that can stop him from lifting them up like they're a fridge and then just tossing him over his shoulder. And especially with a finisher that for my entire childhood and teenage years I heard, man, that move don't even hurt. That ain't like this goddamn move. That ain't like this damn move. Like every move has its pain tolerance and has its craziness to it. Go on.
So Triple H has made a statement about the booking of having John Cena lose. This is going to be a long one. I just want to get into it. So he said, there are time-honored traditions in our business. John has said the right thing his entire career. It's about leaving this place better than the way you found it. There's no way for people to understand that in the moment, but you do what is right for the business. You do what is right for the industry. John has done that his entire career. I'm going to do that my entire career. I will do what I believe is right for this business, and it is just what it is. I understand that's tough for people to understand, but it's part of what we do. That is the role we have chosen. If you were to say, what will Cena do on his way out? He will put somebody over on the way out. He will leave this better than he found it, and he will make somebody on his way out. That is what John does. That is what John has always done. I know people will criticize this, and people will look at it, and people will talk about this moment right here. I've got big shoulders. I can handle it. So that is what Triple H. It is actually shocking for Triple H to break kayfabe on the post show, talking about putting people over and things of that nature.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the story goes on. Like what he said on the. By the way, while I do explain this, could you go and send the link of the Body Slam, stream to the group chat so that everybody can repost it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But so, John Cena said on the Joe Rogan Experience earlier this week that when Saturday night ends, and Monday comes, they're gonna be on the road to WrestleMania. They're gonna be on the road to Royal Rumble, and they're not gonna give a fuck about John Cena anymore. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. It sucks so much that tonight that we saw what we saw. Him tapping out. Him never doing what he said he was ever gonna do for 20 years, of that motto starting and whatnot. Sorry, I had a hiccup. That
Very
was
good.
actually a hiccup there. But no, just
Sorry,
for
Rami, really quick. Kayla trying to add on with you. Cena announcing the death of Osama bin Laden is one of the most insane things I've ever witnessed. Easily my favorite Cena moment. I cry every time I watch it because it just comes out of nowhere. It really does come out of nowhere.
it's so amazing. I love it too because it's like
I'll leave
I
this.
remember I remember being like, of course, well, I was like 11 years old or so. Like, yeah, 11 years old, and the news didn't even come out. Like, The Rock even prematurely announced it, like before the president could. Like, he was like, "We have some very, very big and exciting news for America." And we're like, "The fuck is going on?" 11-year-old me did not know this until years later because I didn't have no Twitter. I barely had a Facebook until I was like 12 or 13. So, but when you see this clip and then you see that people were saying that John Cena was the first person before the president to say that Osama bin Laden was assassinated, like the guy who caused 9/11, as they say in the background, they don't really want to, point things at a bush. But like, at the end of the day, Osama bin Laden was assassinated, and John Cena came out with the WWE Championship after winning it. Like, what could have happened if he lost? Would they have still said, "Hey, Osama died. Can you go announce it, dude? Like, go announce it right now." Miz going to the back. Go right ahead. Like, John Morrison could have won the WWE Championship that night. You know what I mean? Like, what a crazy experience that all would have been if John Cena never would have won. But even
Yeah.
with him winning, it adds on to how insane it is because they're like our face of the franchise. It's like Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl, and then instead of saying, "Tom Brady, what are you gonna do next?" Instead of saying, "I'm going to Disneyland," no, he's gonna say, "We're gonna go assassinate Osama." Like, well, what's going on here? Like, you can't be saying that. But just
And Corey,
the
I see you're here. Welcome, Corey. I know I saw your stuff all day on Twitter,
howdy.
being and you're letting your thoughts be known on what you thought of John Cena's career, how much he meant to you. Really appreciate you sharing that on your social media, and also appreciate you, Corey, all the time. Corey's not doing well. I know a lot of people are not. We're gonna get into the finish right now with
I'm not.
Corey
I've been balling.
about this match. If you want to hop on, you obviously can. If not, if you want to keep chatting us, we'll obviously bring up your comments. But let's get to this finish, Rami, which what everyone wants to talk about. So Gunther has this sleeper hold on John Cena for it feels like forever. Cena, they had the pass out spot, right, where the ref pulls the guy's arm to make sure if it's 3 times his arm falls down, it's over. Cena, it was really funny, Rami, when Cena got pulled up for the 3rd time. He did like the 3. You know what I mean? Like he did the 3. It was really funny. And then what else? And then so the finish was basically Cena hits one last AA. It was his 4th AA in the match.
Hold on. Actually, see,
Yep.
man, he's doing it. He's doing it.
Gunther kicked out. And then as Cena was picking up Gunther again, Gunther put Cena back in the sleeper. And obviously we knew he was not going to pass out to lose. The whole story was tap out. And it was a weird sell because Cena like smiled knowing this was the end and was like, "I'm going to tap out." And he tapped out. And the crowd was shook. A lot of people already began crying. After the match, a flood of people, the whole roster, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, Michael Hayes, Bobby Roode, all these people, all the producers, they all came out. And as Triple H came out, there were "F you Hunter" chants, "You effed up," all these chants, booing Hunter when he got on the top rope and hugged John Cena. CM Punk and Cody came in the ring, gave
him the titles.
Gave him the titles. And there was no speech from John Cena. No one goaded him into a speech. No one goaded him into a speech. Cena bowed to everyone in the ring, and then Cena walked off. There was also a video tribute that was new. Triple H told Cena to look at the video screen, and they played this very emotional video, which also showed a lot of old Triple H interview when he had like the long hair. Like that's how far back they went with it. But so Everyone is
I,
going. I think he's going to give his
there was
speech when he officially
there's
goes in the
also
Hall of Fame. I agree too, Corey. I think he will as well. He'll give his speech when he goes in the Hall of Fame. Look,
yeah,
with
definitely.
AEW, Sting didn't give a speech when he won. He went back to the
Yeah.
presser. So not everyone wants to do that. And again, it's Cena's last match. If he wanted to do it, he probably would have done it. He just didn't do it. But Rami, before we get to the end of stuff and the Triple H side of it, going into the match, didn't even want to be tonight about him. I completely get it, the selflessness of the situation. But Rami, when he tapped out, what was your first initial reaction? Was it anger? Was it just sadness? Where you're like, this was the right booking? What? Get into it right now. Lay your thoughts out on this very controversial, divisive ending to this show.
I felt like I got shot in an alley with
Oh,
emptying the clip into my chest and putting me down for good once and for all. Maybe 10 more in my fucking head. Like it was just straight murder. Like the entire motto of never give up was just give up and kill this guy. Gunther is Darth Vader, dude. Like there's no matter how many legends, like even like as much as Cody Rhodes wants to be Han Solo, we all know that Han Solo was John Cena. You know what I mean? Like that right there is the guy that he might have had a little split moment where he, joined the dark side, but he always comes back around, and he in the at the end of the day, it's sad to see. I felt a sadness. I will say I felt sadness.
yeah.
I didn't cry just at just that yet until they started playing that tribute video, and then I kind of sucked up a tear whenever they showed Vince. I was like, ah, come on, don't do that. Like just wiping up a tear, like don't do that. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna have no tears for your bitch ass. But just so emotional. You know what I mean? Just seeing the tap out, like you haven't seen it in 20 years. Like 20 years of like, oh, he's never gonna tap out. The last guy to do it was Chris Jericho. And then Chris Jericho's gonna be back in a month and they'll be like, oh my God, the last guy to make John Cena tap out before Gunther. Like, you know how they set up these little storylines then and whatnot. We're gonna have Gunther and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. Book it, Vince. Corey Hayes right now is putting that in his notes right now and saying, sources say that Chris Jericho is coming back so that he can fight Gunther, the Ring General, at WrestleMania in Las Vegas. Um, yeah, Patreon, pay for it now, $5. That's your big exclusive right now, Chris Jericho and Gunther for Corey Hayes. But at the end of the day, John Cena is like the epitome of hustle, loyalty, respect. When I was what was I? I think I was like say maybe like 10 or 11 Easter. Of course, there's always baskets and whatnot that we all get. And my parents, they knew how much I love wrestling, so they'd always incorporate some type of thing with wrestling. So it was like an RVD figure, some other things and whatnot. And then the WWE Championship. I have my little initials here because I'm known as the junior of my family, so it's junior and then my last name. But this WWE Championship I've had for 15 years now. So for me to have that and for me to have those memories of John Cena when I was 10 years old, when he feuded with Batista for the at WrestleMania 26, when he feuded with, The Miz. And here's the thing, I was the biggest Miz fan when I was 11. I kind of still am a really big Miz fan, but like I'm not like, too heavy into it. But when I was like 10 or 11, I had the faux hawk. You do like with a water faux hawk or whatever like that. It was corny as fuck. It was like the most goofiest thing in the world. But that's what you do as a kid. You mimic all your favorite wrestlers. You mimic all your favorite things. I used to like just find any way to freaking put on like face paint or whatever. Any type of paint I'd find that I could just like, use, I'd put it on my face and think that I was Jeff Hardy. And just growing up and seeing John Cena getting all his wristbands, his shirts, the figures, the championship. Like there would be no Spinal Championship without John Cena. He incorporated such a different style of the culture into professional wrestling, and we were like, it's so awesome. People didn't like that growing up. Of course, there's many different people that besides myself. Like you were like, man, this fucking shit's corny. But like growing up, it's like it's still that perfect moment of just watching your favorite person of all time. Just and especially let's not forget 2010. He was in the Fred movie, like one of
He
the
was.
greatest yeah, one of the greatest movies and sequels there was because John Cena, Fred Horns is taking on vampires, taking on bullies, taking on like deers, moose, anything that they could find. Um, but yeah. Gunther is the right guy to build this off, but you just don't know what happens next. Does he win the Royal Rumble? He's not going to win the Royal Rumble. But most likely, like Michael Hayes and Bruce Pritchard are probably in the freaking room, are like, who'd be a good pick right now? That Jey Uso guy. I love a main event Jey Uso. How about this? How about we set up Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso to have a little bit of a double elimination at the final two, and then we can set up a Lex Luger Bret Hart type finish where Jey Uso wins the World Heavyweight title. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's how they fucking work their minds. And I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of people saying, let it build out. Let it build out. WWE's cooking.
Yep.
It ain't
I was
cooked.
about to say, sorry, I was a bit distracted. We were having some just very odd technical stuff where we were just kicked off Twitch. I just put us back on Twitch, and we were also kicked off YouTube. So Blackhawk's helping me out right now currently. So thanks, Blackhawk, for coming up and helping us out. Yeah,
Corey's a liar. Corey loves Chris Jericho. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. He's the Ayatollah of Chris Hayes and Rock and Roller. Like, come on, it's like Corey Hayes and Rock and Roll. I'm like Chris, Chris Hayes. I've never seen Corey Hayes and Chris Jericho in the same room together. I'm just saying.
You said Chris Hayes. Are you combining the two people now? What are you doing to poor Corey?
Yeah, Corey Jericho. You never know.
Wow.
Something's gonna be happening. I don't know. Just bullying the boss man at this point.
But
what
yeah,
are they gonna do? Fire me in the middle of the show and then I get kicked off?
But yeah, I just want to. Yeah. But so sorry, guys, about if I look distracted, just trying to figure out our technical stuff. But Blackhawk is helping me out. So thanks, Blackhawk, for coming in and helping out. But so here's my thought on the finish, Rami. I'll go into my thoughts here really quick. I thought coming in, Gunther was going to make Cena tap out because going in, I thought Cena, from his perspective, was like, I'm going to put someone over in the main event. Now you could say this is not a young guy. Obviously, Gunther's in his late 30s.
Yeah.
Now we did talk about
this is like Patrick Ewing. Get the fuck out of here.
Post show. I liked the idea of Gunther being the real legend killer, where Gunther retired Goldberg, he retired John Cena, he will probably retire Brock Lesnar next year. I think he could even retire AJ Styles. Who knows? He could just retire everyone and be a real.
I mean, if it comes to like putting out legends like that, I would say like I'm not like brushing it off. I'm more so.
He was. I think Cena did.
Yeah.
I think Cena was cool with how
he was at peace. So would you say he's like a peacemaker?
Yeah, I did think it was funny. Hunter should be all good. I'll keep it. Yeah, thank you, Black, on making sure we're good. But yeah, I think it was exactly what it was. I thought it was, again, I'm not the biggest Triple H person, but I don't think he would have had Cena losing without Cena's blessing. But I don't think he would have had Cena. He needed Cena's blessing, I think, for this booking as well. So I'm not trying to defend Triple H, but I'm also going to say here, I don't think this would have happened unless Cena also was perfectly.
It was like goddamn bad.
But I thought the finish, he definitely looked happy with what happened. Again, I don't think it's the greatest, most satisfying finish to a career. I still think we'll never top Sting's retirement match in AEW. I think that's like
never. That's what I kept thinking about. And here's my take. I think that the retirement match for Bryan Danielson truly was that Swerve Strickland match. Those two at all, like, even though he fought Jack Perry and then he fought Jon Moxley afterwards at Wrestle Dream, I feel like when you really build off that true ending, it was that matchup between him and Swerve, because if he would have lost, I think that would have been the end right there. So that was at all three of those matches, it was all retirement moments, and I feel like the all-in one for Bryan Danielson really left a big smile on my face, because we heard the final countdown. We saw him win the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, the Men's World Championship, for the first time, and the only time. But like, it was just a good moment. But seeing as well, like, my God, like everything went perfect to plan for him to win, for him to have that perfect send off. And even he was like trying to push up, like, I don't know, maybe I should put these guys over. And the Young Bucks were like, dude, you're fucking winning. There's no way around this. Like, you are the man. You're the icon. You're Sting. Like, I even remember as a kid, like for my 10th birthday, I believe it was. Like, 9th birthday it was, because I remember Backlash, Randy Orton, and Triple H. But I went to this Toys R Us and I was getting the blue steel cage and like a John Cena action figure. And the bagger there, this old man, was saying, "Oh, you like wrestling?" And I'm just, yapping my brains off. I think, of course, about how much I love wrestling. And then he was telling me about how Sting, the wrestler, of course, Sting, had lived a couple of blocks from, where he did it out in California. And I was like, if I knew Sting was like one of my neighbors, I'd be like the biggest fanboy in the world. Like, yeah, Sting lives on my block, but like, of course, seeing Sting get that retirement match and get it the way that he did with his sons and with all those like beautiful moments in between, and just the extremeness of like even Darby Allin like jumping through. Wasn't that where he like died almost in a way like through
Yeah,
the? But what did he jump through again? Like the glass
yeah,
tables or
it
like
was the
what?
glass. Yeah,
Like
it was insane.
like my God, like I hate seeing that stuff, but I also love it as well. Like I
Oh, I
love
love it,
deathmatch
dude.
wrestling,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's also like if I went through that, I don't know how my body would react. I don't know how I would react. I don't know
yeah,
if it would be like this pure quietness of just like why did I do that or what the and then just like letting out the biggest fuck.
yeah. So
So
I'll say this: I
well,
am not as offended by the finish. Gunther.
I'm not offended at the end. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
Just
no, you're.
go on. Go
I'll
on
say
though.
this: I don't need every person in wrestling to win or lose. I don't think it's a requirement to win or lose a final match. Like it's whatever the person wants to do in the moment. I'm now like talk about Sting for example. He told Tony he's like, why are you putting the tag titles on us just for us to drop? Like I don't want to win this match. Let the Bucks win. They keep the titles. And then Tony said, no, you're ending your career as tag team champions of Darby, and that meant something. Even though obviously they relinquished the titles, it didn't really matter. It was about
It did it.
Tony.
Yeah.
Tony wanted that specific thing, and again, as Corey has said, this is exactly what he wanted to do. Triple H, we've talked about it now a lot. Well, let's focus on it now to end our show here tonight. He got a lot of crap. He was getting booed, F off. He was getting FU chants. He was getting UF'd up chants. We just talked about on the post show. There were AEW chants. There were LA Knight chants. And Triple H, we already talked about it, acknowledged that a lot of people were going to be frustrated with the finish. Is going to take it on the chin. Do you think this will affect people? Because I saw casual people who never watched wrestling were not happy about the finish. Like celebrities were complaining about it. Do you think this hurts the company in any way? Like, I don't know. It was a weird ending where you don't normally see the boss, the person running the company booed. Like Vince McMahon, a week or even a day after being accused of what he was accused of, came back on SmackDown and got a huge, massive reaction, a very positive pop. That's Vince McMahon getting accused of that, right? Got a huge pop. It was very shocking to me that AEW show at a WWE show, AEW chants at a WWE show is wild in 2025. It's been so long since I've heard that. I told Rami that at the beginning of the show. I'm shocked there were AEW chants because that we've not heard that probably since like 2021, like even 2019 probably. Like it's been a while since we've heard AEW chants because the audiences have really separated. Where it does feel like most people just don't prefer, choose one or the other. They don't really watch both. I watch both. But I don't know. It was a weird night for Triple H because he got massacred by the fans. Social media was bad when the match ended, like bad. Like it was a mixture of obviously people celebrating John Cena, but also they were chanting AEW to troll his bald ass. And he's playing into the Ricochet bald person getting booed. Yeah, sure. Corey. That's exactly what he was playing into. But Rami, were you surprised? Like, no matter, it's rare to see the booker of the show being booed on the show. Like, were you shocked that you heard that very like unanimous reaction from the fans following the show?
It's so much different in wrestling than it was back and like when we were kids and everything like that when we were young. Like I agree with like Kayla and everything. Like it's been so long since we've heard AEW chants at a show, and now that we're finally getting like look at today's show. AEW had like a coast to coast show. They had to wait till Butler and Providence had their college game, which was a great game. I don't watch college ball at all, but they went to double overtime. I was
Yeah.
losing my mind. I was like, it was a great game. But then we get into AEW and we get Konosuke Takeshita versus Claudio Castagnoli in a draw. I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. And then we had this, the Sisters of Sin, Chris Statlander, and Jamie Hayter
Swerve and
having a pretty good
Alexander.
match and everything. And Josh Alexander versus Swerve Strickland to kick off the freaking show, and everybody just is feeling the love, feeling the energy. Like my little brother does not watch a lot of professional wrestling, so whenever
Okay.
he does tune in and whatnot, he just is like in awe and shock. I showed him this match. I was like, just tune in for a bit, see how you like this. And he grew up being a WWE fan, but like, lately it's more so like if he sees something on, he'll tune in for a bit and then probably like a little bit zone out. But like it happens. Well, a lot of us, some of us grew out of the phase of wrestling, some of us didn't.
Sure.
But when he's able to watch these events and he's seeing Josh Alexander and Swerve Strickland put on this freaking banger of a match to start off the show, and the way that they're wrestling, the way that they're finishing matches, it's great. When you see the main event being Speedball Mike Bailey versus Kevin Knight, two best friends who have respect for each other, and in the way that they built the matchup to don't hold your punches back, I know you respect me, but I
Yeah.
know you're gonna hurt me. So go right ahead and do your worst. And same thing with Konosuke and Claudio Castagnoli. Like, my God, that match was so freaking intense. And the 20-minute time limits that we get with it. And then what we saw this past Wednesday with Kyle Fletcher and
Yeah.
Speedball Mike Bailey. Like, there's so many different attributes to what AEW is putting out that when fans are like, they fucked up again with WWE, they keep fucking up, they keep, adding on the worst things. Like, for example, SummerSlam end with John Cena abruptly turning face that weekend because the
Yeah.
Rock storyline never panned out right. And then he loses to Cody Rhodes, and the first thing they do is bring back the Predator, Brock Lesnar. And then we're like, what else are we supposed to do besides boo that? And
Yeah.
they booed it right after the show. You and I were talking about that and
We
everything. So
broke
they were
down
booing.
Yeah. Yep. WrestlePalooza.
Yeah, we broke down WrestlePalooza. Did we break down SummerSlam as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we broke that down. 5,000 people coming in and voicing their displeasure for what they saw. There was so much 50-50 of people like, yeah, and then people who have an actual brain and common sense who were like, no, and they got booed there. They got disapproval, and then as months go on, this this run went from being like, oh, this is John Cena's final run, and then they found ways to just make it worse and worse and worse. Like losing the Royal Rumble to Jey Uso was already like the worst thing you could have done, and we're like, so you ruined his chances of tying Stone Cold Steve Austin for the most Royal Rumble wins, and then going to WrestleMania, beating Cody Rhodes, and then becoming the only never seen 17-time, WWE champion. All of that ruined because oh, we have a different idea. People won't be able to predict this. There's a reason why we don't want to predict that because that sounds like shit. And then we got it, and then we didn't like it. And then they were like, oh my God, why doesn't anybody like this? Because when we know what we want, when we see a final season coming up, look at Tom Brady, what he said. He did not win his final game. He lost to the Los Angeles Rams, one of the
Yeah.
greatest teams of all time. But that's besides the point. But he had a great, career.
Yeah.
All those rings, all those championships. The year prior, I believe he won the championship and he wanted to do a repeat and whatnot. So it's understandable, when it came to like Tom Brady losing the game. It was understandable with Michael Jordan came to losing his game, when he was entering the later stages of his career. Kobe Bryant was on the worst season and
Yeah. Corey's
record.
a Bucks fan, Rami. Corey's a Bucks fan. Now we're bringing up sour moments for Corey now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but like you see like with like Kobe Bryant in his final game, he had 60 plus points, 65 plus points, and like the most awe-inspiring moment ever, him betting $50,000 or $500,000 on the sidelines with shots to make the free throws, him making them, and just we got to see that last moment of Kobe Bryant's career and like him, have that big farewell salute. I would have loved to have that with Cena, and I feel like that would have been a big good because no matter what, even if Gunther loses, you still had that final match against Cena. Even at the end of the day, you win or you lose, I don't mind
I
because
see
it's
both
professional
sides of it,
wrestling.
is the truth. I do see
I
both sides of
you
it.
can see both sides of where it's fan satisfaction. We want to be satisfied with the end product, with the guy who told us never give up. Because at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do is never give up. So when we see him lose, we're like, it is the streak all over again. You have the perfect moment to have something so perfect and so unique within this wrestling company that, yeah, I'm trying to fight to be undefeated at WrestleMania. I'm trying to fight to be a 18-time World Heavyweight Champion. I'm trying to do all these things. And then you see those moments and we're like, it really leaves a sour taste in the mouth right now. And then when we remember in the future, we'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
that happened because they just didn't want to give us fan satisfaction and they didn't want us let us have a happy moment at the end of the day.
Yep. This was an interesting decision. It will be a very memorable decision. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this is going to somehow turn the ratings war or turn the war around, but I will say this. It is a big opportunity for AEW because a lot of people are going to be pissed off about this match, like just angry, so angry. They might not want, who knows? We'll see how the ratings look for Netflix on Monday, but fascinating situation. I was really, really, really shocked how unanimously pissed off this crowd was of the finish of the match. And
Yeah, man.
they were
We
just
just did not want to give up.
they were really angry that the guy who said never give up tapped to end his career. I thought it was a really good line by Michael Cole, which I appreciated. He said, pro wrestling beat sports entertainment. I thought that was a really good line because
Yeah,
Gunther is
it
the
was.
wrestler's pro wrestler, ultimate. And I thought that was a really good line. I am not going to lose sleep over Gunther tapping out John Cena. I'm not at this point. People are, but I am not.
I'm gonna watch the Marine tonight and say that's my guy. That's
Now,
my guy.
Gunther will have heat probably forever now for this match.
Yeah.
While it's not
Yeah.
obviously he had no idea. He
Dude,
didn't have a book.
I think this is gonna be the equivalent like in a good way as well, like because
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, you beat the guy, you ended his career, you made him tap out. This is like when Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania,
Yeah.
and then that next Monday Night Raw, they were chanting "Fuck you, Roman," like for freaking 5-6 minutes straight.
I would do the same thing. Gunther come out, start on Monday, and say nothing, and just listen to the crowd chanting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
would
then
do
just drop it like I was the guy that made your hero tap out, and I'm coming after the men's world heavyweight championship by winning the Royal Rumble. Like he already have like a full set schedule because he doesn't have the chance for the title. Because if Braun Breaker's like, oh, I'm waiting till the first Monday Night Raw, you guys can fight for the scraps. I'm gonna win the Royal Rumble, and then I will be ready for April 18th or 19th, whichever date to fight for the heavyweight championship. Which I don't think is gonna happen. I feel like such a great story would be if Gunther's about to win the Rumble and then he gets eliminated by Ilya Dragunov, and then you get him to do a SmackDown versus Raw type of battle between him and Dragunov, where if he wins the world champion, sorry, the United States Championship, he moves over to SmackDown. If he doesn't, he stays on Monday Night Raw. I like those type of, interpromotional brand matches. Like one of my favorite ones was Umaga, or sorry, as William Regal used to say, Umanga, against Batista at WrestleMania 24. That's my first WrestleMania I watched live. John Cena fought Randy Orton and Triple H for the WWE Championship. I wasn't a really big fan of the end, and a lot of people are like, "Oh wow, it's one of the best endings. It's such a good match." I'm like, not really, not so much. But still, John Cena getting that trumpet, college university, introduction and everything. Yeah, before he made his entrance. Triple H, Randy Orton, before he changed the voices by Rev Theory, he used "Burn in My Light" by Mercy Drive, which is such a beautiful damn song. Like, bring it back, god damn it.
Here we go. We also have Kayla here saying, I went into it believing Cena was going to lose, so I was not shocked, but I am shocked at how shocked and angry people are. I 1,000% agree with you, Kayla. Like, I went into the match trying to tell people, because I am friends with a lot of just Cena diehards. I said, Gunther is going to win this match. And they were like, no way. They would never end Cena's career like that. I said, Gunther's going to win this match. And I was unsurprised by the finish. I agree with you, Kayla. I am so surprised how turned off the fans are by the booking. Like WWE booking was so bad for so long. Even fans sometimes weren't that vocal about it until it got too late. You know what I mean? Like it took until like an AEW starting for people to really be outward and complaining about.
Yeah, because it's a lot of regurgitated bullshit we were dealing with. It was like the big dog, the big dog, the big dog, and then
and since that WrestleMania 40,
during
people,
that timeline, during that timeline, a lot of even the wrestlers were trying to like mimic what New Japan was doing. Like we had Seth Rollins coming out and doing like the ripcord knee in a way of like the V trigger and like the Rainmaker, and we're like, okay, so and when AEW finally got this, announced, everybody was like, okay, what's this gonna become? And as the years progressed, a lot of people in the comments, or a lot of people around the world would be like, I don't like this company. I love this company. I love it. It's for the sickos. It's for the freaking for professional wrestling fans, and we're all gonna love and enjoy it.
yeah,
Um, my only gripe with WWE lately has really been just the inconsistent. Not really my only gripe. I'm like saying like when it comes to like watching this every single week on TV,
yeah,
it's the inconsistent booking because there's so much talent there and there's so much like you watch 2002 SmackDown all the way to 2008 and everything's so fluid with the booking. You got everybody wanting to have a shot at the world title. Hulk Hogan won it for barely a month. Said, with the things that are going on today, brother, with 911 and all that other stuff,
yeah,
he said that like, wow, crazy to the Undertaker, to the Rock, and they build it off to the Predator Brock, and then later on to Big Show, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero. Like
yeah,
there was so many different world champions we saw during that crazy span of years, and it's always so entertaining. What is the problem with WWE trying to replicate that nowadays and not being able to because they have no, they have no plate vision. You're stuck at, the plate trying to hit a bomb. It's the bottom of the ninth. You need a walk off, and you're not able to do that.
yeah,
And they'll say in the first like before the season starts, you're an MVP caliber player. And yeah, the WWE are like with the wrestlers they have and the matches they produce, we always see some crazy bangers, like Motor City Machine Guns and Fraxium, the tag team division with DIY and the Street Profits, the
now Dragunov.
um,
Yeah,
and
Dragon.
Dragunov as well, and carrying on the spirit of Sami Zayn and his United States challenge that was carried on from John Cena as well. Like Cena was trying to find ways to make Raw interesting 10 years ago, so he decided to do the United States challenge and keep us going. 10 years later, and they're trying to find ways to make SmackDown interesting. And this is minus the last night's main event because, of course, people were dealing with family losses and personal problems and everything like that. So I'm not gonna come after that. But when it comes to main event booking on Raw and when it comes to booking on SmackDown, a lot of disqualifications, and people get turned away from that. They're like, what are we gonna do next? See the next week of Raw, Braun Breaker comes out. I want a match against anybody in the back. Jey Uso comes out. We saw so much of the same match between those two that we just got completely turned away from it. And now when we see this event get booked up of this is the last time is now. Whether he wins or he loses, at the end of the day, if he would have won, I'd been like, man, hell yeah, brother. He loses, I'm like, man, hell no, brother. But at the end of the day, it's not gonna affect me. I'm gonna sleep beautifully in my bed later tonight and everything. I'm gonna enjoy myself tomorrow watching football, and I'm still gonna carry around like my favorite memories of John Cena. I think
Yeah.
that
Sorry, you keep going.
I, I think that the worst thing is that the the fans see it once again as a like no legend gets a proper actual good send off because it feels so rushed. Like 30, 40 dates you only get out of the year. We're not gonna really book you so well. Travis Scott's not gonna show up. The Rock's not gonna show up. Like imagine saying those sentences with John Cena's last year. Who says that? It's like, oh man, it sucks that, like let's say like 1998. I don't really know what kind of legend I could really talk about. Let's say Dusty Rhodes. Man, Dusty Rhodes is retiring. It really sucks that Tupac and Biggie aren't here. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Like, there's not a single person who thinks of like, oh yeah, we need a celebrity to incorporate their, thing into, a wrestler's final year. Like The Rock in his final year didn't say, I mean, before that, we're not gonna incorporate like, talk about Flo Rida, even though that was a great, build. Like Flo Rida and MGK at the time,
Oh
pretty good
my
build.
God.
Um, what? You're not a wild one? You don't have a good feeling about this? Come on
I
now,
like
pal.
Flo
Like,
Rida's music, but I'm not again, I'm not a Cena person. So those two matches are not ones I think are that good. But I will say we're gonna start wrapping things up because this is our longest post show that Rami and I have done, but we deserve it because we do think it's our final one for WWE in
yeah.
2025.
It's the last time I'm gonna see you, babe. You know what I mean?
I know
We're gonna be so long before I see you. Like,
I know it's
golly,
gonna be another month because we'll do.
divorce, man.
No, there's no divorce. It's just a 1 month break, Rami. We're okay. It's a 1 month breather from each other.
I gotta get out of here.
But we're gonna be back in 2026 because we have Saturday night's main event, and then my usual favorite pay-per-view of the year, the Royal Rumble, January 31st. Sadly, it's in Saudi Arabia, but the good news with that, Rami, we're gonna be here early during the day
You
talking
say
wrestling.
that's a good thing?
I do. I like day wrestling. I do. I like wrestling being over at 3, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, okay. It's gonna be
Great.
over for you at what, maybe 3 p.m. And I'm gonna be have to be in awake at 6 or
I
9
know you're
a.m.
right.
Like, brother,
I forget the time
dude,
difference. It's fine for me because it's a noon
man.
start time, but 9 a.m. for you is going to be something else on January
I mean,
31st.
we did it for the Aussie show, so that
We
was
did.
fun. When
That was
we had to talk
earlier.
about John and AJ. Yeah, that was a pretty early show and everything. I don't know how I stayed awake during that whole thing because
Yeah.
like I was falling asleep almost towards the end of it. Like,
No, you
no
were
no
great.
offense to anybody, but it's like, post show like
That was a
early in
9
the morning.
a.m. a 9 a.m. start. It was a 6 a.m. your time. So you were, but guess what? It'll be later. I just want to, before we wrap up, just thank everyone because Rami and I have been now doing this for like 6 months now, doing these post shows
Yeah,
for
yeah, dude.
WWE. And now it's as amazing. We consistently get well over 1,000 people joining us for these post shows, which truly means the world to both of us. So thanks for everyone who enjoy Rami and I covering all things WWE and our post
Yeah.
shows because we have a great time talking wrestling together. And we had so many people joining us tonight in chat. Dawson, Brian, Matthew, Derry, we had Corey, we had Kayla. So thanks for everyone who
Yeah, that's
joined us in chat. But Rami, let's wrap things up. Where can people find you on social media and Buy Slam in general?
I just want to give a shout out to Kayla, Dawson, and Brian. I expeditionally love all of them so much. So very, very happy that they tuned in and they got some comments in and everything. Like, Dawson with his Cliff Corner Copeland, that's the inside joke of ours because we're like, how can we make Edge, his debut at AEW be something different? And Cliff Corner Copeland are all different things for Edge. So no Sexton Hardcast will hear, so we got to think of something. But like, you can find me on my socials at Who Else But Rami on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on yeah, most of those places and whatnot. Blue Sky as well. Like, Blue Sky is pretty fun. I don't really post a lot of things. I don't really, yap a lot. But it's so what do you call it? But whenever I do, of course, it's just a big yap. Like, recently, I said that the song "Let It Rock" by Kevin Rudolph and Lil Wayne would get a turtle hyped up like he did a line of coke before a boxing tournament. Like, it's the truth though. Let it rock. Like, have you ever heard "Let It Rock" by Kevin Rudolph and Lil Wayne? You get hyped off of it. You're like, brother,
Sure.
you saw breakdancing and everything. I could see breakdancing. But anyways, you can find me on Who Else But Rami on all my socials and everything. Thank you so much to everybody who tunes in. We will see you in 2026.
Yep.
It's gonna be something. It's gonna be something different, of course. Like, new year, new goals, new everything. So I cannot wait to see how 2026 unfolds for all of us because we're gonna be doing all the WWE post shows, whether it's, the pay-per-views on the main roster, whether it's a Saturday Night main event, whether it's any of these like different type of events, and even maybe might do some come together breaking news because a lot
Yeah.
of things can happen in 2026. So um I'm very, very excited for it. I'm so happy that, you and I have been able to do this for past couple of months and whatnot. I am thankful for you. I didn't get to see it in November, but thankful for you, of course. Thankful
Thanks.
for everybody at Body Slam. Thankful for all of the opportunities, of course, that I've been able to get. Cannot wait to see how 2026 comes because it's gonna be huge. So of course, follow me on all my socials if you want to hear any of my stupid shebangs or any of my baba booies or any of the
Oh,
dumbest that I
all
say
of the
because
above.
there's so much.
All of the above.
There's so much. But of course, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, Kayla loves Rami as well. How can you not love Rami? You know, he's just an easy, lovable guy. Come on. I mean, but yeah, because, you know, Rami and I have had to cover a lot of shows, controversial shows as well.
Yeah,
So it's been an
yeah.
honor to go through it all.
OJ Simpson
Uh,
in the Bronco.
well, we've been covering WWE so long. That was our first show together, obviously. But if you want to follow us, please follow Body Slam across all of our social media platforms. That's Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and X. That really means a lot. We post videos. We have people now who cover the show. So in case you're missing Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, we have people, you know, live tweeting the show to make sure you're covered on the shows.
Yeah.
I do highs and lows every single day of the week, covering Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and Collision. I'm not done, though, doing post shows this year because 2 weeks from now is AEW World's End. So Blackhawk will be on the post show with me doing AEW World's End.
If you guys need a third right there, please.
Yeah.
Like I would love to get in on the action because they announced Jamie Hayter
Yeah.
versus Chris Statlander for World's End.
And
Chicago is
Joe
definitely
Joe versus Hangman versus Swerve. So we got a triple threat. So
look what I'm wearing already. Chicago represent and everything like that. So like, you know, I'm already trying to stamp my approval there. Blackhawk, let me in.
Yeah.
But
so maybe Rami,
wait.
we're not done for 2025. But
Maybe we're not done.
for sure, Blackhawk and I will be doing that post show. Also, Blackhawk and I have a podcast called Tour of Japan. We've been off for the last couple of weeks as there just simply isn't enough news for us to be covering for a full hour podcast. But we're going to be back for sure, 1,000%. Blackhawk and I will be back this Friday at 7:00 Eastern. New Japan World Tag League Finals are tomorrow morning. So we're going to break down. We're going to break down.
I'm so heartbroken.
Why?
Why did Yuto Ice and Oscar Loop lose?
Because they're the champions. I don't need the champions winning these tournaments.
Screw that.
And
Those are
I'll
the
say
goats.
it, Gabe Kidd, my wrestler of the year. My wrestler of the year is Gabe Kidd. So I'm all in on Gabe Kidd. So but if you want to hear us,
he's a madman.
You want to hear me talk about Gabe Kidd and New Japan Pro Wrestling. We talk New Japan, Noah, Marigold, Stardom every single Friday from 7 to 8 Eastern here on bodyslam.net. Also, please subscribe. You can see the link below me. Last thing I'll promote, the Patreon. It really will help turn everyone working for Body Slam into a full-time job. So please, everyone, if you want pro wrestling news at the fingertips, that's how you get it. Corey Hayes breaks some of the best news in pro wrestling on our Patreon. We break news every single week. So please subscribe to our Patreon. We'll help everyone here who works at bodyslam.net. For the final time, at least for WWE side of things for 2025, thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you guys in 2026. Thank you, everyone.